This is pages 6 and 7, the Functions Operations Pamphlet. Key concept: function operations. Function operations is adding, subtracting, multiplying, or dividing functions together. You can use the derived formula for f of 1 times g of x of 2 as long as x1 equals x2. Subtracting functions. With subtracting, distribute the negative sign into the second function first. So we have f of x minus g of x. So we're going to have x squared plus x minus parentheses x minus 3. And a lot of times they like to have the notation where the first function also has parentheses, but it's not necessary to complete the problem with that. So we'll distribute the negative into each of the terms of the second function and then combine like terms. X squared plus x minus x plus 3. And then you end up with x squared plus 3. The x's cancel out. F of negative 1 minus g of negative 1. So wherever we see an x, we're going to now replace it with negative 1 with parentheses. Since we already found the function for this, we could just plug it into there. And then that would give you 4. If you plugged it into the whole thing entirely, you should get the same thing. Okay, now let's find f of 3 minus g of 3. So we have 3 squared plus 3. That gives you 9 plus 3, and that is 12. Let's look at example 2. F of x equals parentheses x minus 4 squared plus 1, and g of x equals 2x. Let's find f of x minus g of x. So we'll have x minus 4 squared plus 1, and then minus g of x, which is just minus 2x. We can say that's the same thing as x minus 4 times x minus 4 plus 1 minus 2x. When we box and FOIL those out, we'll get x squared minus 8x plus 16, and then minus 1 minus, or plus 1 minus 2x. And then when you simplify that, you should get x squared minus 10x plus 17. So let's find f of negative 1 minus g of negative 1. We could plug it into the formula we just derived. So once we plug that in, you should get 1 plus 10 plus 17, and that would give you 28. You could also find these individually. F of negative 1, you would plug in negative 1 for x in this first function, and you would get 26. And the g of negative 1, you'd plug in 2x in there, and you get negative 2. 26 minus negative 2 is like 26 plus 2. That's 28. F of 3 minus g of 3. So we could plug it into the formula that we derived, or you could find them separately. So you get 9 minus 30 plus 17. We evaluate that, you should get negative 4. If you found them individually, plug in 3 for the x and the f function, and then you would get 2. And then plug in 3 for the g function's x, and then you would get 6. 2 minus 6 is negative 4, so you get the same thing. Let's look at example 3. F of x equals 3 to the x power minus 5, and g of x equals negative 2x. Let's find f of x minus g of x. So I have 3 to the x power minus 5 minus negative 2x, which would be a plus 2x. So then we have f of 2 minus g of 2. So we could just plug it into this formula. 3 to the second power minus 5 plus 2 times 2. It would give you 9 minus 5 plus 4. And it would give you 8. And if you found them separately, f of 2 would be 3 to the second power is 9. 9 minus 5 is 4. And then minus, you plug in 2 here, you get negative 4. And then that would also give you 8. And then f of 3 minus g of 3. So we have 3 to the third power minus 5 plus 2 times 3. Give you 27 minus 5 plus 6. And that would give you 28. If you found them separately, let's plug in 3 for the x and the f function. Be 27 minus 5, be 22. And then plug in 3 for the g function, that would be negative 6. So 22 minus negative 6 would be like 22 plus 6. That's 28. Let's look at the next page, page 7. Adding functions. Example 1. F of x equals x squared plus x, and g of x equals x minus 3. When you add them together, all you have to do is combine like terms. So this becomes 2x. So then you have x squared plus 2x minus 3. We have f of negative 1 plus g of negative 1. Plug in negative 1 for the x. It'll give you 1 minus 2 minus 3, and that would equal negative 4. If you did them separately, f of negative 1 would be 0, and g of negative 1 would be negative 4. Add those together, you get negative 4. And let's do f of 3 plus g of 3. So I have 3 to the second power plus 2 times 3 minus 3. I give you 9 plus 6 minus 3. That's 12. Okay, find them separately. You can do that with 9 plus 3, that's 12. 3 minus 3 is 0. Same thing. Okay, let's look at example 2. F of x equals parentheses x minus 4 squared plus 1, and g of x equals 2x. So if we combine these two together, if you have x minus 4 squared, it's the same thing as x minus 4 times x minus 4. Use box or foil, and then you get x squared minus 8x plus 16. Add 1 and add 2x. Combine like terms. And then you get x squared minus 6x plus 17. Let's find f of negative 1 plus g of negative 1. Plug in negative 1 wherever you see the x. So that'd be 1 plus 6 plus 17. That'd be 24. If we found separately, you should get the same thing. 26 minus 2 is 24. And the f of 3 plus g of 3. Let's plug in 3 wherever we see x. So then you get 9 minus 18 plus 17. That would be 8. Find these separately. 3 minus 4 is negative 1. Negative 1 times negative 1 is 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. 2 times 3 would be 6. 2 plus 6 is also 8. Example 3. F of x equals 3 to the x power minus 5 and g of x equals negative 2x. Let's combine those together. F of x plus g of x. So I have 3 to the x power minus 2x minus 5. There's no like terms here, so we could just leave it like that. Okay, now we have f of 2 and g of 2, so we're going to plug in 2 into each of the x's. That would be 9 minus 4 minus 5. That'd just be 0. If you found them separately, 3 to the second power is 9. 9 minus 5 is 4. Negative 2 times 2 is negative 4, and so that also gives you 0. And then f of 3 plus g of 3. 3 to the third power minus 2 times 3 minus 5. It'll be 27 minus 6 minus 5. And that would give you 16. Find these separately. You get 27 minus 5 is 22, and then 3 times negative 2 would be a minus 6. And that also gives you 16. Okay, try the practice worksheet in your Unit 8 packet that has to do with adding and subtracting polynomials. And then we'll move on to multiplying functions.